Hello, we'll talk now about John Lautner, a North American architect. Let's read a little bit about him. So, John Edward Lautner, born on the 16th of July, and today is the 16th of July, and that's the reason we talk about him, was born in 1911 and died in 1994, was an American architect. Following an apprenticeship in the mid-30s with a Taliesin Fellowship led by Frank Lloyd Wright, Lautner opened his own practice in 1938, so at 27, where he worked for the remainder of his career. Lautner practiced primarily in California, and the majority of his works were residential. Lautner is perhaps best remembered for his contribution to the development of the Googie style, as well as for several atomic age houses he designed in the late 50s and early 60s, which include the Leonard Malin House, Paul Schitt's House, and Russ Garcia House. So we'll see them. What would this be, the atomic age house? I guess a reference to the incredible tools of destruction that we the humans invented. This was the man, John Lautner. And now we begin with the John Lautner house in Los Angeles. Maybe an early work, I don't know when it was built. Certainly not in 2007. He was dead by then. But you know, the fact that he built this house shows that the shoemaker can make sometimes shoes for himself. So the architect can build for himself sometimes. There are some echoes from Frank Lloyd Wright here, but there is also something very different. Frank Lloyd Wright would have never done something like this here, which is, you know, a formal gesture of rather, you know, dubious character, because you know it's probably just a form without much behind it, perhaps, unless he wanted to express the dynamic life that he himself was promoting. So he started with his own house. The Bell House in West Hollywood, 1940, quite a large house. John Lautner, he did design some extravagant estates and some extravagant houses. Here again, we see some echoes from Frank Lloyd Wright. Terra Office Building, Beverly Hills, 1945. No pictures. The Edgar Mauer House, Los Angeles, 1945. John Lautner. Hancock House, Silver Lake, 1945. So California, California, California. Arthur Eisel Guest House, Los Angeles, 1946. The picture is not quite convincing. Another one in Los Angeles, 1947. Some people live well, as you can see, or lived well in that city, which is not a city, as some people think that Los Angeles is not a city because it is governed by the automobile. I guess this was for sale or something. Home of the day. Glass, glass, and glass again, floating the roof. But here there are some interesting things, actually. John Lautner. I don't think he designed the chairs, but who knows? I see this building by John Lautner as being promoting an architecture of, you know, a pleasure, actually. The Desert Hot Springs Motel, renamed Hotel Lautner, 1947. Not bad, not bad. A motel which is architecture. It's not just a vulgar commercial structure. This is the plan. Sorry for the resolution. Interesting cars. No, the building is standing the test of time, but the cars are just fruits for melancholia and nostalgia. An interesting idea to have no windows. You know, you have just this wooden fencing around the building or around the parts of the building. Jacobson House, 1947. The myth of the glass, the demagogy of the glass are still here. Sorry, I pressed for something wrong here. So we are looking again at the Jacobson House, 1947. I like this sculptural element here. You know, this pole that that is more than just a pole. It's a totemic sculpture that announces the corner in a more emphatic way. And you have the hexagonal canopy superimposed on the plan of the building. And here he does it again, this emphatic corner. I think they add something to the building. Now the Wolf residence, which is an interesting work, vertically oriented this building. And I like this meeting between the giant tree and the architecture and the presence of stone. It's a good building. Quite dramatic. Stones all the way going up. Maybe the architect John Lautner trying to escape the influence from far away of Frank Lloyd Wright. John Lautner. Architecture and nature, culture and nature, geometry and nature, stones and concrete. Then I press something here only. Chemosphere residence, Malin Chemosphere residence. I don't know, it was called like this. It was very published at that time when it was made in Architecture d'aujourd'hui and other journals. You know, the space age habitation or house. John Lautner. He did believe in modernity, maybe too much. And look at those stairs going all the way from the beach, I guess, to the house. Demanding exercise, very demanding. Of course, he benefited from exceptional landscapes. Probably a building worthy of James Bond. It might even be that it was filmed, such a film. I don't know, but maybe it was. A very pure conception, maybe too pure, very clear, maybe too clear. A tour de force, as they might call it, a tour de force. And the octagon appears again. With the magic of number 8. Sheets Goldstein residence, no pictures. Oh yes, pictures. With a very dramatic ceiling, roofing. You would have expected this kind of roofing ceiling for a public building, not a private residence. Not the smallest sofa in the world, worthy of an airport, maybe more than a private residence. But if they love parties, what can we do? And the bedroom, look at this. Look at the bed attacking the building from the inside. A triangular bed. We can only wait for Mr. Bond, James Bond. And in the distance, Los Angeles. Sorry. Again, I press strongly a button here. We were looking at this house, contemplating this inviable bedroom, but not inviable when the electrical bill would have arrived, because you can imagine, with all that glass. Nostalgic cars. The building is not nostalgic. Two triangles attacking each other. Echoes from some buildings here, from IMP and Hacker, among others. Maybe again a dramatic roofing ceiling, public dimensions, but this is a private residence, a big one though. But we see the power of the diagonal worthy of an epic appreciation. John Lautner. The Garcia house, another interesting house, almost otherworldly, like a spaceship almost ready to take off. John Lautner. Anything goes. Now a building he built in Mexico, the circular house. Still two more images of the Garcia house. And now the circular house, circular at the end of the house, and the Arango Marbriza house in Mexico. Concrete again, concrete. The more the better, the more pollution the better. Echoes from Frank Lloyd Wright to an extent. But Wright didn't like concrete too much. That's why he called it a conglomerate. But here there is concrete, lots of it. John Lautner. Now the Hope House, a TV personality, and the building almost says it. And it's not a whisper. A giant circular opening in the roofing. John Lautner. Concrete again. Palm Springs, California. These people probably thought they were gods or godlike. We see the importance of the roofing. The purpose of architecture is to create timeless, free, joyous spaces for all activities of life. John Lautner. Well, for those who can afford it, of course. Who can afford the timeless, free, joyous architecture? Those who can. The purpose of architecture, again, is to create timeless, free, joyous spaces for all activities of life. John Lautner. Thank you.